The night before my sister's debut, she suddenly jumped from the 18th floor. But when my grandmother saw the note my sister left behind, she just trembled and whispered sorry to me. Then she too leapt from the balcony. In that moment, our whole family was stunned. Just then, my father picked up the letter from the ground with shaking hands. But after reading it, his legs gave out and he almost fell to his knees. My mother and I hurried to ask what it said. But my father clutched the letter tightly, refusing to speak a word. That night, he got completely drunk. For the first time, he yelled at us, shouting that we must never mention that letter again. I was terrified, so I kept quiet. But deep down, I knew he was hiding something. What I didn't know was that he was doing it to protect us. I tried to move on, but every time I looked at my sister's photo on the wall, that bright, smiling face, I couldn't stop wondering, how could someone that cheerful ever commit suicide? In the middle of the night, I heard something crash in the living room. When I ran out, I saw my father drunk and collapsed on the floor. My mother and I hurried to lift him onto the couch, and in that moment, my mother secretly pulled the letter from his pocket. She only wanted to understand why her daughter and mother-in-law had both chosen to leave this world. But after reading it, her face turned completely pale. She finally understood that my father's silence was to protect us. When I asked her what my sister had written, she suddenly panicked. Then she grabbed the letter and swallowed it whole, crying as she told me. I must never know. Hearing that, I grew even more afraid. My father then sobered up. Seeing my mother like that, he could only give a bitter smile and say, "Now your mother lives in the same hell as I do." I didn't understand a word of what they meant. Before I could react, my father ignored my mother's pleas and walked out of the house alone, and my mother followed after him. I waited for them to come back, but they never did. The next morning, the doorbell rang. I thought they had returned, but when I opened the door, it was a stranger standing there. While we were talking, a message came in saying my father had died. I rushed to the scene and lifted the white cloth. Seeing my father's cold body, I couldn't accept it. In just a few days, my whole family was gone, and I refused to believe my father had taken his own life. That was never who he was. I demanded an investigation, until the worker showed me a video. In it, my father walked step by step into the lake. I completely broke down. Just then, my mother appeared. She looked at me, her expression eerily calm. She said she already knew everything. Tomorrow at the press conference, she would tell the world herself. When we went home, she said nothing. She quietly cleaned the house, cooked dinner, and even set the table for everyone, including the empty seats. I asked her why. She just smiled and said it's a habit. The next morning, she put on her wedding dress and jewelry from 30 years ago, then took me to the press conference. At that moment, everyone was waiting to hear what my sister's final words had been.